Hey guys, my name is Jennifer Brave. I'm the founder and owner of Facets Relational Care, and today we're going to be talking about the ego defense mechanism for Enneagram Type 8. This is going to be another free video that I have posted on my Patreon account and then here on YouTube as well. And it's just to give you guys a taste of the series that we're doing. If it's something that you're interested in, definitely check out the Patreon account. You can subscribe. I've got 3 different tiers. I recommend at least tier 2 for this one because I've been doing a lot of podcasts more so than videos for this series. So tier 2 will get you good access to this information. It's a minimum of $2 a month. So check it out if it's something that you're interested in. And again, today we're going to be doing the video on the ego defense mechanism for Enneagram Type 8. But before I get into that, specifically for those of you on YouTube, I wanted you to know that in an effort to create more time for me to dedicate to creating content, I have really streamlined all of my social media. So I have gotten rid of my Facebook page. So if you were following me on Facebook and that disappeared, don't worry, I'm still there. I'm not going anywhere. I just don't have a Facebook presence anymore. So I've got everything going straight to Twitter now. So if you want to get all of the notifications about anything, the YouTube videos or anything that goes on Patreon, or when I update my new schedule every month for those of you that may want to book sessions, all of those notifications are going to go on Twitter. My handle is FRC for Facets Relational Care _Jennifer. So once again, it's FRC _Jennifer. I'll put that information in the box below so that you have that as well as a link to my Patreon account so you can go check that out if you want to. So the ego defense mechanism for Enneagram Type 8 is denial. It's so simple, I don't even really know how to describe it to you, but I'll give you the definition. The definition for denial is an unconscious defense mechanism in which the existence of unpleasant internal or external realities is kept out of conscious awareness. This, in my mind, can look a lot like the ego defense mechanism for Type 2, which is repression. The difference between the two is that repression involves an awareness of the unpleasant thing and then the immediate dismissal of it. It's kind of like, nope, I don't like that, getting rid of it. So for Enneagram Type 8, they don't even have the awareness. It's just not there. And again, it's such a simple defense mechanism. It's almost like, how do you put into words something that's not there? You know what I mean? We've all met these people, though, whether or not they're 8. Some of us have been, all of us have been in denial about something at one point or another. But you've met these people. You've met people who are so obviously very black and white thinkers, and it's making it hard for them to be satisfied because they hold everyone else and their expectations of life to such rigid standards, and they don't see it. They don't see it. They don't even know. We've known people who are enabling a family member who has an addiction, and they can't see that. It's you can bring it up to them, and it's like they don't even know what you're talking about. It's like, what is this enabling word that you're using, right? 8s are the same way. They go through life, they do what they do, they've got very assertive personality types, and so they just don't look inward to examine what they're doing, because when you're an 8, you've never had the need to. Life just kind of flows for you. So what's the point of stopping to look inward and examine the self when life just goes the way that you need it to go, right? And again, there's exceptions to every rule. Not every 8 is like this. I've known lots of 8s that can be very introspective. Again, it tends to be with the NF types, the Myers-Briggs NF types, so ENFJ, ENFP, INFJ, INFP. You can find it in other 8s as well, but I typically see it more with them. So I'll give you an example, and this is the closest example that I can come up with, because denial is one of those things that you almost have to experience in person because it's so difficult to define, because by definition, denial is nothing, right? It's the absence of awareness. So how do we describe that? So I've seen denial in 8s when I talk to them and I say, well, this is what I see, and I can offer a perspective. They'll usually hear me out if it's a perspective about the situation, but if I think that they're contributing something, like something they're doing in their behavioral patterns or a way that they're perceiving something, if I think that's contributing to the problem and I comment on that, immediately it's like, no, and jump to the next subject. That's it. I've had 8s that I have said things to them and they won't even acknowledge it. They have literally stood up and walked away, and that was it. They were gone. I've had it happen on more than one occasion. It's fantastic. And that is what I like to call denial in action, because in other words, what you're doing is you're presenting to them something that really on a very unconscious level they know is there. Although I will say this, I don't think most 8s know that they know. You know what I mean? Some people, if not most people, I would argue, are aware to some degree of the things that they're not dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, we've got an idea about what's hanging around in the unconscious mind. 8s, some of them, if not most of them, I don't think they even know. I just don't think it even occurs to them to consider the fact that they could have an unconscious aspect of their self, right? So you see it like that. They're just not very in touch with the unconscious aspect of the self. And so when I make assertions or offer observations or suggestions or things like that, it's kind of like they just blow you off. It's like, you're stupid. And they just go on and do their thing. It's not even a consideration in their head. You were just very clearly wrong. They don't want to hear what else you have to say. Bye. That simple. So denial looks a lot like that. The different things that they do, the behaviors that they're in denial about, of course, will vary from 8 to 8, but that is denial in essence. And so that is the ego defense mechanism for Enneagram Type 8, which is denial.